pointing up or down. When you erase a program, you just either computer tells that, well, don't look at this region anymore, there's junk here. You still have information there, still you start writing things on it. Or if you're after your security, all you do is you just scramble that region. You turn all of it to 1 or 0, really erase all the information rather than just confining your region to be written on it later on. You just say, okay, turn them all to 0s or 1s. What you're changing is the state of these tiny magnets on the disk. If you have a solid state drive, then you have flash memories, which stores, I'll come to this point, but there's a floating gate which can store charge in it, and it can store for a long time. What you change is if this static gate is charged or not. And when you erase your program, actually, you set these to either all 0s or 1s, or again, you confine that segment of memory in your drive. But as I said, you can put these logic gates together to make memory operations. Actually, if you look at a CPU, let me go ahead of myself and show you this since you asked it. Most of the CPU is actually allocated to volatile memory components which are made up of these logic gates. I'll come to this. Okay. So here's a 1-bit adder. If you look at here, there are XORs and ORs and AND gates together, used together to make a 1-bit adder. So what it means is you have 2 inputs and a carry block. So in the end, actually, you can add these 2 numbers together to have addition operation. And by putting more complicated things together, we can do 16-bit adders, or 32-bit adders, or 64-bit adders. Of course, it requires a very complex arrangement of these transistors. And you can carry out arithmetic operations as well. So we start with this, and by putting them together in a clever way, we can now start performing arithmetic and logic operations. So if you put enough transistors together, like thousands, millions, billions of them, you can do logic operations. Arithmetic operations and store information. This is a CPU. What's inside these computers, watches, and smartwatches, and cell phones, and everything, cameras, everything electronic we can think of actually as some variant of this. Of course, this is specifically designed for doing tasks in a computer. This is a multi-core processor. It has 4 cores, and this is no larger than square centimeter. It's like a very tiny die actually. And the task here is to put more transistors so that we can put more of these logic and arithmetic operators and more of the memory so that we can do more calculations per unit time, per unit money. Now, that's the reason why we want to make transistors smaller and smaller. What happens is, now, imagine you want to put billions of transistors in a large space. That's fine. That's going to slow down your computer because imagine this component here tries to talk this component on the other end. This is going to take quite a long time actually for electrons to travel from one side to the other if you think about the speeds that these stuff operate. So what you want is you make them smaller. But as you make them smaller, this means you have to make your transistors smaller as well. So also there are things, of course, these manufacturers consider. The real estate on a silicon wafer is precious because it defines, let's say you start with a 30 centimeter diameter wafer, and it goes through certain processes, and every step you do on this wafer increases the cost of unit area on this wafer. Now, when you add up all these costs, what you try to do is to make one functional unit as small as possible and as fast as possible. So what they do is they constantly keep shrinking the size of this channel for these reasons. So it will be cost effective, and electrons will spend less time traveling from source to drain, but still do the same function. It has been an easy task till 5 years ago or so, but now you're reaching to fundamental limits. If you look at this electron microscope image, now they've started doing 3D transistors. It's not planar like this anymore. They're doing many tricks to get this to work, but let me walk you through that. What you have here is you have source and drain. Actually, this thing is source, the other is drain. I don't know what this is actually, what part of CPU this is, but this is just a single. There are two transistors here, I suppose. And then you have an insulating part between metal gate and the source drain semiconductor, so that the gate encapsulates most of the region here. Okay, so it offers more effective switching. And if you look at the dimensions, if you look at the gate length, this is actually large. Now they can do 10 nanometer gate length. Actually, the production was doing, I think, in 2000, they were doing test runs, but in early 2017, we'll be seeing processors with 10 nanometer gate length. Imagine this, it's just 20-something unit cells of atoms. The gate length is so short. But we are approaching fundamental limits. They have to do lots of tricks to deal with quantum tunneling. 10 nanometer gate. And of course, electrons will start coming from one side to the other. And the problem is, if this happens, it means that you won't be able to turn off your transistor effectively because there will be leakage current all the time. This means you're dissipating energy by doing nothing. Even if the CPU is now in operation, it's going to use energy, and this will result in heat. So you have to effectively dissipate this heat through this entire chip. So cooling becomes a further problem. And of course, there are fabrication difficulties. We're trying to fabricate a 10 nanometer channel. Imagine how to do lithography. Actually, there's something very puzzling, but we'll also talk about that. They use UV light to pattern these structures, not EV lithography. And I'll explain how it actually takes place. They are very clear with APs, and they can thus sort of beat the diffraction limit. Okay, any questions? That was like a general talk about CPUs and transistors, but I always find it very interesting because these guys are trying to follow the Moore's law, which says transistor count on a chip same area, same chip. 2014, it's 128 gigabytes. And the law states that, actually it's an empirical observation, I think maybe late 80s. This guy, Morse, looked at the number of transistors on a chip, and he realized that it's following an exponential behavior, so it roughly doubles the number of transistors on a chip, roughly the same area, doubles in every 18 months or 2 years. So far, the industry has been trying to achieve that, and surprisingly, although since 2005, Moore's law has been failing, and it's not indeed failing, but since 2005, people kept saying that, well, we are approaching to the end of the Moore's law, we won't be able to follow it anymore because now we approach the fundamental limits. We are doing, they kept saying that, but here we are at 10 nanometers, they can still follow Moore's law. Okay, so now I'll go a little off track again. This is a sideways to our discussion. We have been discussing field effect transistors. Please keep that in mind, but this is all actually also very related to what we do, because I think these CPUs are the first products of nanotechnology, and they're so common and so available to us, we don't even realize that they are modern marvels of nanoscience and nanotechnology. Actually, if you remember, who's the one? Who's the right? I don't remember. I asked, have you ever used, today, did you use any product of nanotechnology? I was expecting everyone to say, I used my cell phone, which has tiny transistors in it. So these are modern marvels, true modern marvels of, or triumph of nanoscience and nanotechnology. So what about below 10 nanometers? What will happen? Well, probably they'll find more clever ways to fabricate things at 7 nanometer node and so on. But I think what's needed is that we need new materials that can complement silicon. Do you know why silicon is used as a main material in these transistors? What is the historic reason? They're much better semiconductors, pure maintenance. It's a lot more better.
Mechanical properties?
Cheap?
Mechanical properties.
So cheap is one answer, but there's actually one very important reason.
I think we have more information about silicon.
But in the 70s, you did.
It has superior mechanical properties like.
It's about, I think, accessibility of silicon.
Oh yes, it's cheap, so it's abundant. But there's actually one other reason that forced people to use. There's a native oxide, silicon dioxide, which is an excellent indicator. So during fabrication steps, you can just oxidize it by using the material itself. And that's why actually also it's being abundant. So people realize that they can use silicon, because if it didn't have its native oxide, I don't think it would care too much about its abundance, because when you're comparing things, if you have to go through the same processing steps, same fabrication steps, you choose a better one. But this time, silicon offers a very distinct advantage due to its native oxide. So the industry is focused on silicon, and they do well here. The fact that they focus on silicon. So, but now things have changed a lot. This 80s, 90s, early 2000s, and they introduced many concepts, many different things. Now, the problem is, if you look at any CPU, you will see that most of the area is allocated to memory elements. And these are volatile memory elements. If I remove the battery of this computer, you cannot continue further to left. Yes, some of the stuff will be dumped to memory and say to hard drive, but you will lose all the information. That's the reason. And volatile. As soon as you power it up, all the information of these logic gates will disappear because you don't have the initial and final state signal. Yes.
That's exactly, we cannot store the information on transistor because the gate voltage is going to be provided by another transistor and another transistor.
You can.
This is, I don't know really, I just guess this dynamic memory is this. We have this like a circuit and logic circuit and
Yeah, but-
everyone is going to be controlled by.
No, it's not a closed system. You have hard drive, you have memory, and you constantly, this whole system is constantly fed by those elements. So you have inputs, and then you can store information as you go through.
Yes,
the
all
process.
I'm saying is that if you have like a transistor, you have to provide all the time this gate voltage to
Oh,
save.
I'm not
the
saying
right?
that these are single transistors and storing information. These are logic gates, actual flip-flop circuits, things like that, that are capable of storing information. So you form these transistors in an arrangement in such a way that now there's a memory to this.
Dynamic.
Well,
Not dynamic.
yes, dynamic memory. Yes, it's not permanent. It's dynamic. It's not.
I mean, either you have to use like magnetic ether to save them permanently or it's.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. That's what volatile means. It just disappears if you don't provide the input.
I just wanted to clarify this.
Yeah. So, what is next? Yeah, we need to come up with new materials. And that's sort of what we try to do. Of course, what's in the lab is rather limited compared to these guys can do, but we're looking all possible, all sorts of stuff in an effort to leave more real estate to information processing regions and replace these volatile memory elements with non-volatile memory elements that are fast enough to operate with the CPU. If you can have such a thing, then even if you unplug your battery or anything, you will still have the state of your CPU and it will be preserved. And this will also help because the efficiency, battery problems, because they require constant operation. They consume power all the time when the CPU is running. If you have non-volatile elements, just write the information and leave it alone. You don't have to consume power keeping these stuff alive. So this is going to help, I don't know at what stage they are, but they have been trying to introduce non-volatile memory elements that are fast enough that is compatible with silicon technology. So they work, but I don't know what stage they are. So we need new materials, we need new things to keep moving forward. Yes.
So for memory, so to increase the memory distribution, what space in the memory space? I didn't get your point. What's
Oh.
the empty space?
It's not empty actually. I shaded the region with, these are the same thing. These regions are actually, just cache. Then the red guy just shaded to enhance, to show you the region that actually occupies the CPU. Any questions about read stuff, any comments, anything you would like to add? All right. And, yeah, I didn't show you a video, but I strongly recommend you to go to YouTube and see real application steps of the CPU
It's amazing. I don't have number of transistors, but the latest report was out by the CPU of Xbox One, which had 3 billion, not billion, trillion transistors.
It had some crazy number of transistor count.
I used to have that number somewhere.
Yeah, there are 5 billion transistors. Once you die, again, about the same area, 5 billion. Imagine designing such systems. And also, I heard that there are abstractions. It's not like I don't know how to explain that, but it's not like a linear design. It's not like everything is well defined in a CPU region. They scramble things in such a way that no other competitor can take it under SCN and copy that structure. They cannot even resolve by just looking at what's going on. So there are these it's called VLSI, very large system integration. So these are the examples of such systems. They're extremely interesting. Okay, now let's go back to our discussion of transistors. Another type, another extremely common type is thin film transistors. And it's so common that again, you don't realize it. If you remember the old days of LCD monitors, they used to advertise it as TFT LCD. And nowadays they don't care about that TFT part because it doesn't sound cool anymore, I guess. Nowadays they say LED TVs, quantum dot TVs. But regardless of that, any technology, this part is fixed. Even if it is a quantum dot TV now, Samsung has those TV. These parts are backlight elements or LED TVs. We don't have your pixels made up in LEDs, except I guess small AMOLED screens are different touch points. These are TFT LCDs basically. What happens is this is a cut out from an LCD display. What you have is there are lots of numbers, but these are pixels you have. This is an RGB LCD screen. It's a color display, and you have 3 different main colors. Actually, this doesn't matter. There are filters that filter out certain lights, and then there's this liquid crystal layer. You can see that a better image here. Yeah. So we have this liquid crystal array, which basically allows, let's say, you apply certain voltage here, some electric field. They realign themselves in such a way that they don't allow passage of certain polarization. Okay. Actually, all these screens are polarized. If you take a polarizer or a polarized sunglass and rotate it, you will see that the screen goes black. That's the reason it emits polarized light. There are polarizers, film polarizers, so that you can work with these liquid crystals. But to be able to switch these liquid crystals, you need to create a layer that can generate this cloaking action. So what they do is they fabricate these TFTs. It's essentially a normal transistor, a fusion transistor. But the choice of materials are
important here because you have to make it transparent. You cannot have solid substrate like CPUs, right? Because light needs to go through these structures. So you choose the materials you use carefully, like for conductive materials, you use ITO, indium tin oxide, which is a transparent conductor. Okay. And also, once you make these active elements thin enough, they become sort of transparent. It doesn't have to be like 100% transparent, but it's like 90% or something like that. It has very high values actually. So that you have this whole array of transistors corresponding to each pixel, each color pixel on the display. So by changing, turning them on or off, you align liquid crystals in each pixel to generate color, image. And you do fast. There are TVs that can do this refreshing 1,000 times a second, or even there are faster ones. So this is another very commonly used type of transistor. And there's a huge industry because ITO is getting more and more expensive each day because indium is not an abundant material, it's a rare metal, and prices are increasing. So people are looking ways to replace these materials. And guess what? There's a candidate. Yes, graphene. It's conductive. What's that?
They can make some.
Well, I have done this, but yeah. So you cannot just continue what you used to do because everything is growing almost at an exponential rate. Every market, every technology, every product you produce, number of things you produce increases at an exponential rate. And to be able to keep up with this, you need to change the ways, you need to change the materials you use so you can cope with this thing. Graphene is a very nice example, very good example because it's abundant carbon. You can produce it easily. And it's sort of eco-friendly. You don't have to mine carbon, right? You can just get it. It's not too bad compared to tin. Other stuff. But there are problems to be true. I think there are proof of principle type of demonstrations of graphene TFEs, but I think they're too expensive to be used in mass production at this stage. I don't know, again, the state of the art on this, but that's something we should be working on. We need to find replacements, eco-friendly replacements, and maybe replacements that are more functional than we used to. So to be able to do that, we need, this is going to be a little philosophical, but we need paradigm shifts. We cannot continue exponential improvement by doing incremental improvements to what we have. We need to invent new things. We need to find new solutions to the old problems. Otherwise, improving things doesn't just make us this huge leaps in terms of efficiency, in terms of eco-friendliness, in terms of all sorts of those considerations. So we'll continue with high electromobility transistors next week. Remember, next week, Wednesday, we'll be doing 2 hours. We'll start at 8:40. And probably our midterm 2 date will be fixed on this. I'll assign a new homework to 8 midterm.
Any questions? All right, so thank you. I apologize.
Hocam midterm test mi olacak? Midterm test mi olacak?
Yok.
Yes. Ben de bir test gördüm. Ne?
So, Ali, I can do some of the characteristics for this one. I think I will have to. Otherwise, I have to take it
Ha, bugün güzel görünüyorsun için bir şey mi yaptın? Ama sizin çok ağır bir
So I decided to do the calculations.